1 मिनट देंगे, लोग ज्वाइन कर जाएंगे सर। So we have about close to 150, 200 people. So let me start with that. So good morning to everyone. A very, very special welcome to our dear Honorable Minister Som Prakash ji. He has been motivating and inspiration for all of us. Thank you this morning for joining us, sir. आप दिल्ली से ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं कि होशियारपुर से सर?
पंजाब फगवाड़ा.
Pagwada ji. Achha, thank you so much, sir. Thank you very, very much for taking out time from your busy schedule this morning. As you know, we have collected the leather and non-leather industry for of India together today, and this is possibly the first webinar that is being organized under the aegis of ASSOCHAM under this subject. So, with your blessings, sir, I'll take and your permission, I'll start the proceeding, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, just to give you a sense, sir. ग्लोबल मार्केट जो है $250 बिलियन की है प्री कोविड, और एस्टिमेटेड किया गया है कि 600 बिलियन तक चली जानी चाहिए थी. Obviously that was again a pre COVID figures. I don't know how it would be post COVID. नंबर पहुंच जाएगा, शायद टाइम ज्यादा लग जाए. India holds about 2.4% of the global leather trade, whereas China holds about 30+% of this trade. Hong Kong alone has 3.4%. Indonesia and Vietnam is about 8%, and Indonesia is fractionally below us, is at 2.3. So these are very small countries, but look at the size of the businesses that countries are doing. So there is a significant potential that exists for India. Strategically, sir, I think this is extremely important because we have the raw material, we have the people who are trained and skilled. This will generate a lot of jobs, and most important is if you're doing exports, सर इसमें फॉरेन एक्सचेंज अर्निंग कैपेबिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा होती है. 40 लाख से ज्यादा लोग को एम्प्लॉयमेंट दी जाती है सेक्टर में सर इन इंडिया, एंड दीस फैक्टर्स एंड दीस पॉइंट्स वी हैव ऑलरेडी स्पोकन टू यू इन द पास्ट, बट बिकॉज देयर इज अ लार्जर ऑडियंस हियर, सो आई एम मेकिंग दीस पॉइंट्स. 30% ऑफ दिस 40 lakhs are women, sir. India is the second largest producer of leather footwear, but our share of exports is abysmally low. And therefore, it is very important that we work on this space and try to increase this. It is estimated that we could be $9 to $10 billion by 2030 and generate over 11 lakh jobs in leather footwear alone. I'm not talking about the non-leather and the synthetic space as of now. The COVID has brought in a huge change, sir. Global supply chains are getting de-risked. Dr. Mohan is here. There are many people who buy from Bata is here. They buy from India and they buy from other parts of the world. And there are so many global buyers who do buy from the rest of the world. However, it's not easy for them to come to India and start buying. Had it been that easy, they would have already started doing it. So therefore, there is obviously something that is amiss. We have huge issues like all other sectors, sir. Land is an issue, labor is an issue, complex regulations is an issue, skewed tariff structures has become a major issue. Tanneries for this sector is extremely important, and common infrastructure is an issue for them. Who manages the treatment plants and effluent plants? Because that's a huge cost that goes in. Transaction cost, logistic cost, cost of capital. These become major deterrents for the growth of this sector, sir. I would also say, sir, India does not have a single brand, and I'm not trying to demean any of our people over here. These guys have done their best, and they have done years. Akil Saab has been in the second generation of this business. They have done the best to their ability. If infrastructure, if things are provided to them, I'm sure they can fly this out. We can do it, and we will do it. The point is that we don't have any brand from India, and therefore any global buyer when wants to buy from a country, वो brand ढूंढता है कि इस country में magnet क्या है. And to create a brand, it takes years and huge amount of investment. And I think that's where the government needs to come and support the industry to create a brand of India. And I don't mean that a particular accessory or a footwear, it should be across the board brand of India, which people then associate itself. Global brands also look at high quality work, consistent work, and reliability of supplies. These are another factors which I think the global people are scared of, and we are not able to do. Non-leather footwear is 2 times the size of the leather footwear, sir. and it is growing much faster than what we've been used to. Prime Minister, in his latest address, has chosen out. We have worked with you, sir, with the Honorable Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal ji as well, where 12 sectors have been earmarked. One of those sectors is leather footwear. Footwear as a whole, what we pitched for, but he chose to start with leather footwear and phase 2 in non-leather and synthetic. Prime Minister has also made a huge announcement that this is the most important sector. And if you look at it, he started with leather, furniture, and air conditioning. So people who are in this webinar, you are part of a thing where the top man of this country is saying that this is what is going to drive us. So with these few thoughts and things, I thought I will now invite Mr. Akhil to give his point of view. Akhil ji, we have a long list of speakers. So I would request you to use 5 to 7 minutes to share your thoughts and views, and then I will get the others in. Thank you so much, Akhil ji. Over to you. I'll request everybody else to put the mics on mute.
Sir, namaskar. And first of all, I would like to thank you, sir, our Honorable Minister of State for Commerce and Industry, Shri Som Prakash ji, and our Secretary General Deepak ji, and all the finest people from the industry and great personalities who are here, sir, today. And it's a great honor for briefing. Great honor for me to brief on the Indian leather industry and products, sir. And I'm also very thankful to you, sir. आप आगरा को भी आए थे, दिल्ली की भी आप हमारे national award function में you were present, sir. And your input has greatly helped us and supported our industry, sir. This is Council for the Leather Export, is established in 1984 under the Ministry of Commerce Industries. We have 3,500 members in our councils. There are nearly about 35 associations located in different parts of the country who are doing a very commendable service of the country, and some of the association members also here. Now we have a major organizations like leather industries being helped by FIO, CIA, and now associations. Sir, I have to especially thank Mr. Deepak for taking a great interest in following our industry, which is really of the hour, sir. So this pandemic, COVID-19, health crisis, this is an economic crisis, this is a social crisis, has brought the entire world into a panic mode and made a huge impact on our businesses. This also has caused very depression and anxiety among the exporters today, which has resulted and also it has resulted as 1 billion export loss on the 17th of March onwards, unilateral cancellation. But now if I talk about pandemic, it's a history now. So we have to see how we go forward. And we are very happy to inform you, sir, that during the month of May, our export has gone up by 25%. I mean, it's 75% less, but still during the month of May, 25% at least we are able to export. And I'm very confident at least 50% of the export we will recover in June, and July onwards we will have a growth. And I'm very confident, and also my assurance to Honorable Commerce Minister Sri Piyush Goyal ji, with several meetings that we had, round of meeting, at least 5-6 meetings we had with all the EPCs, and I could see that the great support is being given by the Ministry of Commerce Industry, sir. I have only a few points to refer here, sir. So the GSP, this generalized preference, which is being imported from the developing countries, by reducing the tariff, sir. This EU regulations, which will expire in the year 2023, sir. Now the Ministry of Commerce has to work on how do we continue from 2024 onwards, unless we start this exercise today, because the LDC will somehow continue, sir, but developing countries is very difficult to continue. And our export is about 60% to Europe, and this requires a great amount of attention. And also a FTP has to be entered between EU and India, because FTA is also, did in the year 2007, so after that we have not done. So regarding this COVID-19 has put back our country, our exports growth to at least, it has gone backward. Now we have to ensure how do we come back to the normalcy, sir. Because to bring it to the normal and to have a growth, a lot of foreign trade policies FTA has to be signed with different countries to ensure that we have a good relation. But also I have to thank our Honorable Prime Minister, sir. If you see today, Digital India, which was launched in the 1st July of 2015, sir, commendable to our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, sir. Because if without Digital India, can you hear, sir? Honorable
Yes.
Minister. Yeah, okay, sir. So what happens, sir? This under the Digital India now, we are able to do all the transactions, infrastructure. It has given everything we are able to transact through the bank transaction, everything to Digital India. Imagine, sir, if our country has not been launching the Digital India platform, we would have been in a great state now, sir. And also, industry had welcomed the GST, one tax, one nation, sir, because I can tell you that because of the GST method, we are able to get the refund money on time, sir, and also demonetization help. So the industry salutes the government for the wonderful support that has been given to, especially to our industry, sir. And I'm also here that BCG Boston Consulting Group has made a fantastic study on the leather industry. So I don't want to touch more on the statistics because they have done a great job, and I'm sure that they will give you the figures, sir. As I mentioned, the export minus 72%, but still, with the lockdown until the 17th of May, still 25% we were able to export, which is a good thing, sir. So which means there is a great potential, and we should continue this our drive to get as more and more export as possible, sir. I have major request, sir. This MES is extended till December 2019 is 5%, sir. What has happened is, since because of the W2 complaints and other issues, 2% was reduced and supposed to be withdrawn and replaced with ROTTE. But thanks to our Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal ji, the foreign trade policy was extended for another 1 year. And now we have 3%, which will be continued from April 2020 till 21 March. But I would request you, sir, I will humbly submit you, sir, that if you could recommend for another 2%, and this 2% is very, very needed because of the COVID disaster that we had. And also under this circumstances, I'm sure that WTO also will not put pressure on our country because everyone is going through a very, very difficult period. So I would request you, sir, for another this 2%, sir. Sir, regarding the wages and salaries, as you know, sir, during the lockdown period, Jairam Thakurji, our Honorable Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, has also have given a note. I will forward it to you. He has also requested that there are about 3.5 crores employees who even if you pay 10,000 during the lockdown period, it comes to 35,000 crores, sir. 35,000 into 2 months salary, if you pay, it comes to only 70,000 crores, sir. This money is available in the ESI account, 75,000 crores. If you could kindly consider this, because I've also taken up with Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari ji during our webinar, and I would also request you, sir. And also there is a member of Parliament from Andhra Pradesh also has submitted similar appeal to the Honorable Prime Minister. This is, if it is possible, sir, this can be considered. The other, this is, and also, sir, thankful to the MSME new definition, which comes. So our industry, what has happened, sir, very good thing happened because of the export, new export norms, and also the MSME new definition. 98% today fall under the MSME categories today. Our industry. Earlier it was 90%, now it is almost 98%, sir. And thanks to our, again, Prime Minister for Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So under this scheme, we are definitely, industry is going to prosper, sir. I have only one request, sir. If this, under this scheme, if you could bring some of this 70,000 crores payment, and there is no outflow to the government, sir, because this can be taken from the ES account. Because it's a health crisis, this would greatly help, because most of our customers have not, our manufacturers have not received the money from abroad, and there are also a lot of bankruptcy in Europe and America. And the last thing I have, sir, we also had a seminar with the ECG chairman, Mr. Sendalan, that we have requested, sir, there is a ECG is covered only for the post shipment, sir. What has happened is, for example, suppose if there is a goods lying in our premises against the ECG limit, but still we are not able to export because of some reasons, those goods are lost, sir, because these are branded products, and our exporters will completely lose the money, sir, because if the shipments are not able to go, and insurance also is, they put it in the caution list suddenly, and then what happened to this export orders, sir? These are some of the requests, and I'm still online, sir. If there is anything required by me, I will be able to present, sir. First of all, we again thank you and thank Asochem and thank Mr. Deepak for giving me the opportunity. And I have a lot of my friends are here. They'll be able to speak further, sir, about the industry. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Akhilji, I think that was a photo finish perfection, and I'm sure you have set a guidance for all other speakers. So with this, Mantri Mahadaji, I think cost of capital is important for most of the businesses. The way the slowdown has hit the demand side and supply side of things, I think there is a lot that needs to be done for getting our consumers back. And when I say not only the export side of things, but I think on the domestic side, and domestic consumption is something that also needs impetus and a real important thought, because we must get our people back in our shops. Otherwise, people have to start buying houses, people have to start buying cars, people have to start buying apparels and dresses and shoes. They have to start getting back to office. So it's very, very important. So all that needs to be done is what we will continue to flag to you, sir. Let me now request Mr. Podar from Mayur. And before I do that, I would also introduce the other speakers that we have. We have Snehadeep Agarwalji from Bhartiya Group. We have Muthu Kumaran, who is the India Shoe Federation President. We have Sanjay Kant from Bata. I hope, Sanjay, your video issue is resolved now, and we will be able to see along with the voice that we have. Dr. Mohan from Clarks is joined us. Dilip from Heightsign, who joins us from Pondicherry. Kayum again is from Bangalore. So it's Snehadeep. I don't know where you're sitting right now, but he's from Bangalore, has a large construction project here. We have Vikash Gupta, and we have Namit, the knowledge partner, BCG, who's also with us. So with these, I would just say that we have buyers, we have manufacturers, we have importers, we have exporters, we have retailers, we have integrated players, right from tannery to a retail store. So we have in this webinar across the spectrum representation of people who understand this business from I mean, they have been in this business for generations. You have large corporates like Bata and Tata, both over here as well. So I will now request Mr. Podar to take the mic, please. Podarji, try to keep it between 5 and 7 minutes. Requesting all others to be on mute, please.
First of all, I must thanks to ASSOCHAM that they have chosen me as a panel, and many thanks to all the people who are in panel. Honorable Minister here. Before I start, I will like to say something that our country need to export and manufacturing activities. As our Prime Minister has also said, Atmanirbhar. Now, how you become Atmanirbhar? If you stop importing and if you start exporting and make everything in your own country. Now, this is a long-term policy which has to be made. It cannot happen tomorrow. It may take 5 years, 7 year time. For that, we have to make certain system or certain things which has to be done by government side and we as a manufacturer side. Now, why we are not able to compete with China? As we know that footwear export is at least 8 times than India in China, whereas today the Chinese cost of labor is at least 3 to 4 times more higher than our country. Then why we are not able to compete with them? And still India is importing a lot of footwear of synthetic. As you know, I am in synthetic business. I know that. Now, how to make competitiveness? First of all, to make a competitiveness, there has to be a scale, big scale of manufacturing. Otherwise, you can never be competitive. Now, how to make big scale? First of all, my request is with the Honorable Minister that we must have a hub in maximum states. It is important. Now, today we are seeing that people are moving from UP and Bihar. For UP and Bihar, why don't we have a clusters over there if we have a labor? Now, the second most important thing, how you make a scale. You have to have good amount of land. Now, the most important is the land should be in a minimum price. Nowadays, we see the lands are so expensive, so the project become more expensive. Now, power cost, if you calculate compared to other countries who are exporting, our power cost is also high. In my opinion, it should be minimum 25% less than what we are having today. Now, any businessman, when he invests the money, he will definitely see his future. That suppose if something go wrong, how I am going to revive. That is, that way the government has to see that those who are putting big scale industry, they have to take care of them. Now, how to take care of them? For industry, the most important is the flow of money, flow of credit, and the cost of the credit. Now, today, our interest cost is so high that we will never be able to compete. In my opinion, it should not be more than 4%. And because until and unless you have to invest in capital so that your quality is good, your productivity is more, but how to do that? For that, you have to invest in the capital. That is most important thing. Now, the next thing is today there is a good business, tomorrow business is bad. So every industry is thinking that if my business is bad, how I'm going to survive? So for that, first of all, and this is footwear is the labor intensive industry, we need to have a very simple labor laws. In fact, I will say to the Minister Saab that why don't we have a hire and fire system? Okay, with a certain compensation is needed to do. Now, from industry point of view, we need to have a very, very strong R&D. As our previous speaker has said, that there is no brand, Indian brand. Now I'm asking all of you, can you tell me one single brand of anything in India which is asked by the consumers that, okay, I want this Indian product? No. Why? Because we are not investing sufficient money on R&D. Without R&D investment, nothing can be done. If we want to the global leader, we have to invest in R&D. And that is the job of manufacturers. That is the job of us, which had to do. I tell you a simple example. I will not take much of your time. Mayur Unicoater is the biggest manufacturer of artificial leather in India. And we are competing with the world. Today, we are the only company, even in China, there is no company who is exporting to USA automotive industry and European automotive industry. Like you can talk about Mercedes, you can talk about BMW, you can talk about Volkswagen. How I am able to do that? Because I have hired the best of the R&D people from the world. So it is important to know that what world needs. Now the kind of product I used to make for Indian automotive industry, like Maruti, all that 150 rupees or 120 rupees material. Now I'm selling 800, 900 rupees material. And now all the companies which has started making big brands in India also, like Tata and Mahindra, they just jump on me. They didn't went to outside. They have just asked me that, Mr. Poddar, we need this material. So in nut and shell, what I'm trying to say, it is very, very important to take R&D on the top. And I request the government, they should have a panel from industry and the government department to look into the problem, every minute problem of industry, any industry. Until unless we go to that, we will not be able to solve our problem. And this kind of a committee should be made, and it should work every month once and with one topic. Now today in business we have got hundreds of topics. Let's take one topic and discuss about it and finalize it. And the people should go rock bottom. Simply by sitting in the room and we decide that we should do this, we should do that, nothing will happen, I'm telling you. Because the way India should improve, I know China, I am visiting China since 1990. What was China in 1990 and what is today? Because their government has helped them left and right to give them the land, to give money, to give less this thing, and they have grown. So if you want to, and I tell you, in leather footwear or artificial leather footwear, which is made more and more all over the world, there is a huge scope because our manpower is cheap today and we can compete anybody, provided we have land, provided we have money to invest in, and provided we have a good R&D. So I will request Government of India also to have a committee of R&D with private companies and the government, because it is very important. Now, what I again request with the government, that whatever raw material is required to make a footwear, like nowadays, lot of PU molded footwears are made. So now it is important to have a PU industry, important to have all the raw material in India. Those we are importing. Why? With that, your cost will also reduce and your competitiveness will increase. So therefore, government need to see that all the ancillary industries related with the footwear has to be given the same importance. Then only we will be able to compete.
Now you'll have to conclude.
Yeah. So now I think I have spoken too much, and whatever my was that I have said. Now it is both the roles, and I once again request Honorable Minister that please treat industry as your customer. We are your customer. We are giving you revenue. So please treat them as a customer. That whenever anybody is interested in putting up an industry, your department should be after his life. That okay, I want this business, and you see where we reach. Now, thank you all of you.
हाँ जी, पोदार जी, आई थिंक आपने बहुत जरूरी और बड़ी अच्छी बातें बोली हैं. एक तो competitiveness. I think no industry can compete anywhere. Forget outside of India. I think within India, if we are not competitive, gone are the days where incompetence would result into sales. We will have to be, because ultimately somebody will come and eat our business off. I think R&D is extremely important. What you said about, I think there's a lot need to be done. I think collectively we need to do that. And Mantri ji, I'm sure I will not say what you would have to say, but I think there is a lot of work that ministry is doing under the leadership of Honorable Piyush Goyal ji and Somnath ji, where we are talking about clusters, we are talking about common facilities, special arrangements. So I will not preempt all that. I will leave it for the minister to detail later. Thank you very much for that. Snehadeep ji, over to you, requesting you to stay with your 6 and 7 minutes, please. Thank you so much. Everybody else on mute, please.
Namaskar ji, Deepak ji, thank you for inviting me. Namaskar, Som Prakash ji, आप हमारे मिनिस्टर ऑफ कॉमर्स हैं, मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट. तो मैं थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दे रहा हूँ भारतीय का. हम लोग 28 साल से इस बिजनेस में हैं और 28 साल में जब हमने शुरू किया तो हम 1200 करोड़ पे पहुंचे. 25 साल पहले एक कोरियन कंपनी ने काम शुरू किया था, वो आज $1 बिलियन पे है. तो अकील साहब ने कहा, पोदार साहब ने कहा, ये फैक्ट है कि अगर हम इसको प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर बना रहे हैं लेदर प्रोडक्ट्स को, तो हमें ये क्लियरली सोचना पड़ेगा कि हम क्या चाह रहे हैं. क्या हम स्केल चाह रहे हैं? और अगर स्केल चाह रहे हैं तो हमें ये मानना पड़ेगा कि जैसे हमारा $5.6 बिलियन का एक्सपोर्ट है, मैं एक्सपोर्ट की बात कर रहा हूँ, चाइना क्लोज टू 100 बिलियन हो गया उतने साल में. पोदार साहब ने कहा वो चाइना जाते हैं. मैं 93 में चाइना गया था पहली बार. तो चाइना में जाके ऐसे लगता था कि एक फैक्ट्री में गया कि वहां किसी ने बॉम्बिंग की, लेकिन उतने पीरियड में चाइना पहुंच गया 100 बिलियन पे और हम लोग पहुंचे हैं 5.6 बिलियन. इसमें कुछ तकलीफ होती है. तो हम लोग 1200 पे पहुंचे, वहां एक कंपनी 7000 करोड़ पे पहुंची. तो मुझे तो ये इंडस्ट्री से हट के, दीपक जी आपने पूछा बैंगलोर में, तो मैं एक नया सस्टेनेबल टाउनशिप बना कि कैसे बिजनेस को बढ़ाया जाए, कैसे $1 बिलियन का मेरा ख्वाब था कि $1 बिलियन की कंपनी बने. तो लेदर से नहीं बनी तो हम लोग टाउनशिप बनाने चले गए। इसमें बड़ा क्लियर है कि अगर हमें स्केल लाना है तो हमें अकेले इंडियन कंपनीज इस टाइम पे नहीं ला पाएंगे। सॉरी, आपको आवाज आ रही है मंत्री जी मेरी?
आ रही है सर, बोलिए आप बोलिए
जी। तो अगर हमें स्केल लाना है तो वी हैव टू सेट आवर गोल्स वेरी क्लियरली। इफ इट इज प्रायोरिटी, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी कि फर्स्ट टाइम हम लोग इसको एक प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर मान रहे हैं और इसका पोटेंशियल समझ रहे हैं। लेकिन हमें अपनी प्रायोरिटीज बड़ी क्लियरली सेट करनी होंगी कि अगर हमें स्केल बनाना है तो जैसे 30 साल पहले चाइना ने कोरियन, ताइवानीज और लार्ज अमेरिकन कंपनीज को इनवाइट किया कि आप हमारी इंडस्ट्री डेवलप करिए, स्किल सेट डेवलप करिए, तो अभी हमारे पास और कोई तरीका नहीं है स्केल कैचअप करने का। नहीं तो हम 5.6 से जब तक 50 बिलियन या 100 बिलियन का ख्वाब भी देखेंगे, वो लोग और आगे बढ़ जाएंगे। जितनी चाइनीज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग थी वो आज शिफ्ट हो रही है टू वियतनाम बिकॉज ऑफ हाई लेबर, और चाइनीज चाहते नहीं है कि वो ऐसी इंडस्ट्री में रहे, तो वो जा रही है वियतनाम, म्यांमार, कंबोडिया, बाकी सब कंट्रीज में लेबर आर्बिट्राज की वजह। लेकिन कोरियन और ताइवानीज कंपनीज ही लेके जा रही हैं और वियतनामीज कंपनीज ही लेके जा रही हैं मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का। क्यों इंडिया में नहीं आ रही? हमें ये सोचना पड़ेगा कि अगर उनको अट्रैक्ट करना है, मेरा मानना है कि जब तक वो कंपनी आएंगी इंजन बनेंगी, क्योंकि उनके पास कैपेसिटी और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाने का स्केल है, उनके पास मार्केट एक्सेस है, उनके पास रॉ मटेरियल और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाने, रॉ मटेरियल ट्रेनिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाने की कैपेबिलिटी है, उनके पास लॉन्ग टर्म पेशेंट कैपिटल है। तो मेरे कंट्री की कुछ रियलिटीज हैं कि हमारे यहाँ इंटरेस्ट रेट ज्यादा है, लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल अवेलेबिलिटी कम है। तो जब वो कंपनीज आती हैं तो अपने साथ कैपिटल भी लेके आती हैं और टेक्निकल नो हाउ भी लेके आती हैं। 2 कंपनीज इंडिया में आई हैं शूज बनाने में, ताइवानीज, एक अपाचे और एक फेंगते। दोनों कंपनीज ने आंध्र प्रदेश में और तमिलनाडु में लार्ज स्केल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर दी। तो अगर इस सेक्टर को बढ़ाना है, इट इज अ ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म, तो हमें इंडिया को ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म बनाना पड़ेगा और लार्ज कंपनीज को यहाँ इनवाइट करना पड़ेगा और सोचना पड़ेगा कि हम उनको कैसे इनवाइट कर सकते हैं। फिर इंडियन कंपनीज भी स्केल अप होंगी, उनके साथ पार्टनरशिप करेंगी, क्योंकि उनके पास लार्ज कस्टमर रिलेशनशिप्स है, एक्सेस टू कैपिटल है। एक कोरियन कंपनी आती है तो अपने साथ कोरियन बैंक और कैपिटल भी लेके आती है। उनके पास 30 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है फॉर प्रोडक्टिविटी एंड एफिशिएंसी। जैसे पदार जी ने कहा, हमारी कंपनी छोटी है तो हमारी एफिशिएंसी आती है 25-30%। अभी मैं कोच, एक $6 बिलियन का लेदर बैग्स का कंपनी है, उन्होंने कहा सुनिधि जी आप जाइए और एक वियतनाम में कंपनी देखिए, वहां 130% एफिशिएंसी। मैंने कहा सब प्रैक्टिकली कैसे हो सकता है? 100% तो टेक्निकली, थ्योरेटिकली 100% एफिशिएंसी हो सकती है, आप 130% एफिशिएंसी की बात करते। तो उन्होंने कहा उन्होंने टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करके ग्रेविटी को डिफाई कर दिया और 130% एफिशिएंसी से माल बना रहे। तो इस स्टेज पे हमें कंपटीशन करने की जरूरत नहीं है, हमें दुनिया की लार्ज कंपनी से कोलैबोरेट करना पड़ेगा और एक कोहेसिव पॉलिसी बनाएंगे स्टेट्स के साथ, जो इंटरेस्टेड स्टेट्स हैं, जैसे तेलंगाना इंटरेस्टेड है, आंध्र प्रदेश स्टेट इंटरेस्टेड है, और जहां ऑलरेडी ट्रेनिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है आसपास, उनसे बात करके एक सेंटर से कोहेसिव पॉलिसी बनानी पड़ेगी। और मंत्री जी अगर आप ही इसकी लीडरशिप लेंगे या कोई ऐसे मंत्री लीडरशिप लेंगे प्रधानमंत्री जी के नीचे, तो 10 साल 15 साल का प्लान बनना चाहिए और 10 साल में 15 साल में हम लोग आगे चल सकते हैं। उसके लिए या तो कोई टास्क फोर्स बने, इंडस्ट्री से इंटरेक्शन हो। एक कंपनी है साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में ट्रेनिंग के लिए, तो कुछ छोटी छोटी पॉलिसीज रोक देती हैं। हमारे को ट्रेनिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी चाहिए, क्योंकि जब तक ट्रेनिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं होगा, सप्लाई चेन नहीं होगी, तो इंडस्ट्री नहीं आगे बढ़ सकती। उन्होंने कहा साहब मैं $1 बिलियन की इन्वेस्टमेंट करके यहाँ ट्रेनिंग लगा सकता हूँ, लेकिन मेरी दिक्कत क्या है कि मैं दुनिया से रॉ स्टील लाता हूँ, वो इंपोर्ट अलाउड है, इंडिया से बहुत सारी रॉ मटेरियल है, और मैं उसको फर्स्ट स्टेज वेट ग्लू या क्रस्ट बनाता हूँ, तो इंडिया से रॉ मटेरियल वेट ग्लू बन के एक्सपोर्ट बैंड है। थोड़ी सी प्रोटेक्शन छोटी छोटी इंडस्ट्री ने मांगी तो लोगों ने दे दी, लेकिन उसकी वजह से लार्ज कंपनी यहाँ यूनिट लगाने को तैयार नहीं। तो ऐसी छोटी छोटी पॉलिसी चेंज करनी होगी और एक ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म बनाना होगा इंडिया को। मेरा मानना है कि हम भी अगले 10 साल में 15 साल में इस इंडस्ट्री को आगे ले जा सकते हैं। इसमें बहुत पोटेंशियल है, वेरी हाईली लेबर इंटेंसिव। ऑफ कोर्स इसमें टेक्नोलॉजी भी चाहिए, प्रोडक्टिविटी चाहिए, कैपिटल चाहिए। तो हमें पार्टनरशिप और लोगों को साथ लेके चलना होगा। एक अमेरिकन ब्रांड, मैंने कोच की बात करी, कोच का इंडिया से सोर्सिंग साहब सिर्फ $50 मिलियन का है, और टोटल सोर्सिंग उनका 50 मिलियन मतलब 350 करोड़ का, लेकिन टोटली वो 11,000 करोड़ का माल खरीदते हैं। तो एक ऐसी कंपनी पकड़ के उनसे बात की जाए और वो अपने सप्लाई चेन और वेंडर पार्टनर लाके इंडिया में बैठने को तैयार है। उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, जैसे क्लस्टर डेवलपमेंट हो सकती है। कुछ स्टेट्स ने इनिशिएटिव लिया था कि कैपेसिटी बनाने के लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाएंगे, तो उसमें कोऑर्डिनेटेड पॉलिसी होगी तो चीज आगे बढ़ जाएगी। शुक्रिया, ये मेरी थोड़ी सी पॉलिसी सजेशन है, और मैं मानता हूं कि इसको मिलके कभी फिर भी बात कर सकते हैं। तो दीपक जी, थैंक यू फॉर गिविंग मी द टाइम टू टॉक टू एवरीवन।
Ji, thank you so much. Staying well within your time, sir. I will have to turn the clock off for you. So thank you very much. I think आपने cohesive policy, आपने collaborative approach के बारे में बताया, आपने how do we attract buyers here? I think we have buyers sitting here in Clarks, we have a buyer sitting in Bata, we have a buyer sitting in Roosh, and I'm sure there are so many more people who are sitting here who, if given an opportunity and a promise, they would look at increasing their sourcing from India as opposed to other countries in the world, provided we meet all the standards that they have. And therefore, it is extremely important that we understand their side of the story. It is not about what we produce, we sell to them. It is what they want, we produce for them. So that's very, very important as an aspect, I would say. Is there something anybody would like to very briefly come in and speak before I will request the Minister Saab to address us?
Mr. Deepak Soodji, this is Mohan. Can I come in for a brief period?
Yes, please.
3-4 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Minister Ji, and thank you, Deepak Sood, for inviting us here. And I have spent about 3 decades in exports around the world and living in European countries and America, and as well as in the Far East. My perspective about, now I'm sitting on the other side, like I promote the brand in India, and also we have a Make in India program within our Clarks India. Today, being a company which is importing from India, close to say about $150 million worth goods, we are the largest importers from this country. About 7 to 8 million pairs we import from this country, and we sell in this country close to 1 million pairs. And out of that, I proudly say more than 60% come from India. Like if I look at it, having worn the hat of an exporter for 3 decades, and then looking at India, I would like to kind of put in few points here. Like, there are a lot of learnings which we can learn from other countries like Vietnam. Like Vietnam, if you all look at it 30 years back, it was one of the poorest country in the world. And today, if you compare them in the ease of capital or ease of investment and ease of various parameters, competitiveness, they have improved quite considerably over the past few years. What is lacking, like Snehadeep ji and Podar ji asked a very valid question, why the Taiwanese and others are going to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Indonesia and not coming to India? Or even, the people are going to Bangladesh even, and why they are not coming to India? There are 2 examples which Snehadeep ji quoted, like for example, Feng Thai. And I was associated with it in the initial period many years back in 2001, when they came to India and approached the government of Tamil Nadu for land. But if you look at it today, they are 12% of the country's exporting close to 14 million pairs from India. That's a kind of growth which they opened the factory in 2008. and they have set up the second one, and now they are looking at the third kind of export zone. So what is kind of lacking? Why the Vietnamese are not coming into India? This is something for us to answer. Number one, India is from a global perspective is viewed by an exporter from the footwear perspective as a leather footwear exporter, and that too mainly we are looked upon as a men's shoe bastion or a sandal bastion. We are not kind of producing high quality women's footwear. Why the lack? Why we are not able to produce it? The lack is the growth of component industry. We don't have sufficient component industry in India, and most of the component industry are quite small. So we need to encourage large-scale players from Vietnam and other places to come and set up huge component industry in India. And this cluster approach there is no clusterization in India, and this new cluster approach will definitely help us to grow export. The second important thing is we are ignoring a sector, which is the non-leather footwear sector. If you look at it, globally, 86% of the shoes consumed globally is non-leather footwear in terms of volume, not in terms of value, I say in terms of volume. And this growth had been over the last 10 to 12 years, they have really beaten the leather footwear consumption. So that is one focus which we should bring in this country, and it's easy to train, much easier to train. Having spent many years in manufacturing, I can say that it's much easier to train a worker on the non-leather footwear compared to a leather footwear because of the finishing standards and other things. So I would say, number one, and to conclude, the 4 or 5 things which I got the suggestion. Number one, I would say government intervention is required in creating the plug-and-play model infrastructure. There have been a lot of things spoken about.
Mohan, I'm going to interrupt you here. I'm just sorry. I just received a message. Minister has a meeting, so I will request the minister to quickly address us. And I think he's going to touch upon these points, and we will take these points from you a little later.
Okay, so, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No, I'm sorry for this interruption, but Mantriji, requesting you to address us, please.
It's my proud privilege to be with you under the auspices of SHM, who is always trying hard to make export powerhouse of leather and footwear. As you have said, this meeting is very educative, fruitful meeting, and so many points you have brought to the my notice. It's my request to you that you should all send a hard copy of all these sessions, and we will consider and consult you and take decisions accordingly. Leather industry is one of the most priority sector for government, and the 12 sectors which we have selected, leather industry is at the top. And whatever suggestions you give, very valuable suggestions you have given, how to attract the foreign investment, collaboration with foreign investors, clusters, labor laws, R&D. You are hearing me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
So, suggestions given by Akil ji, Sandeep Agrawal ji, Podar Sahab, all the persons, the great persons sitting here, you have given very good suggestions. And so when government is concerned, we are to help you, we are to work not as, we are to help, and with close cooperation we have to work. Whenever somebody wants to set an industry, Invest India is there, and we are there. You want any help, you can approach me, you can approach the industry secretary, you can go to Piyush Goyal ji. Always you are welcome. For any difficulty, we are there to help you. It's my promise to you. And as you have said, India is the largest producer, but our contribution towards export is very less. We have to make India Atmanirbhar, self-reliant. For that, we have to contribute. Government has to contribute, and you will have to contribute. For that purpose, there is scope. Government can help you in creating infrastructure and other facilities provide you. And we would have to build a strong window system, single window system, in which all clearances are given, time-bound clearances are given, and people are not harassed. I always say in the meetings, in the department meetings, until and unless we make the industrialist continue, give him a continued atmosphere, they will not invest here. Nobody will come to India if we don't give him a single window system, strong window system, fast clearances, and availability of the money for them whenever they want the loans. So my request to you is that it's a labor-intensive industry. Lot of employment is being created. That to the weaker section of the society, women of the country, and production is in this leather 13%, I'm told, and footwear 9%. So we can, lot of scope we have, and we can increase it. And you make the efforts. You are the persons dealing with it. You have the experience. You have the experience with China. You have the experience of Vietnam. You know what other countries are doing, and give your sessions. Sit with us. We will discuss in detail and give the sessions. We can. The person was saying that you should work with as partner. Our people will help you. We can dedicate a person especially for your industry. They will give you every help. Government, as Prime Minister has said, that we are to make India self-reliant, and for that purpose, we all are taking decisions. Quick decisions are being taken. Piyush Goyal, our minister, is very quick, very decisive, and on 12th of this month, all the tires they were being imported have been banned, and all they have been put in a restrictive category. And likewise, whatever decisions are required to be taken in leather industry and footwear industry, we are ready to take. To give in writing, give us suggestions. You are welcome, and I'm very happy that you have given very good sessions regarding collaboration, regarding other things, labor laws, clusters, and R&D. You have given stress. It's a hard fact that until unless we invest in R&D, we can't succeed. We have to build our brands, local brands. We have to build and make it vocal, make it global. This journey is saying something to actually practice is very difficult, and we have to work very hard. Government as well as the industrialists have to work very hard. We have to create quality. We have to not only produce things, we have to take care of the quality. Until unless we produce quality products, nobody will accept our items produced by us. So my request to all of you is that let us work together to make India strong, to build India strong, to make India world leader, to make India exporter of the large chunk of the export from your leather industry. You have scope to only do 4% you have told that we are exporting. So lot of scope is there. You can do wonders, and government is with you. Whatever you want from government, what decisions you want from government, whatever is possible, we are at your disposal. I assure you, me, my Minister Piyush Goyal, and all the team, the officers will work for you. And this is the priority sector which Prime Minister has given us a call that we have to protect this industry. We must give them congenial atmosphere to grow, produce, compete in the world. That's our motto. So you people are in the industry for this. You have experience, and you know how to compete with the other countries and how to attract investment here. So government is there to help you, and you have given very good sessions. I'm very happy बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है आप लोगों से बात करके। बहुत लोगों ने बहुत अच्छी सजेशंस दी हैं, एंड एज मिनिस्ट्री officers are geared up. They are doing day and night. They are working in this period of the lockdown from morning till night तक सारे ऑफिसर्स काम करते रहे हैं। इसमें भी आपको बहुत सेटबैक लगा होगा, एज दूसरी इंडस्ट्रीज को लगा है, और इसके पोस्ट कोविड पीरियड में जैसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने कहा है, वी हैव टू मेक इंडिया आत्मनिर्भर बनने के लिए हम सभी को वी हैव टू वर्क हार्ड, ऑल ऑफ अस मेक ए एफर्ट। गवर्नमेंट की ड्यूटी करे, आप अपनी ड्यूटी करो, एक क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट ऐसी बनाएं और जो दुनिया में एक्सेप्टेबल हो उसके बनाने के लिए, जैसे आप लोगों ने कहा, हमारा कोई प्रोडक्ट ऐसा नहीं है जिसको हम कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि R&D इज नॉट देयर, उसमें हम काम करें और एक लक्ष्य लेकर चलें और दृढ़ संकल्प लेकर चलें। कॉन्फिडेंस अपने आप पे हो और संकल्प हमारा हो कि हमने ये करना है, वी हैव टू डू, और अचीव करना है। जब आदमी करने का इरादा हो, दृढ़ संकल्प हो, कोई बात मुश्किल नहीं है, सब चीज अचीव की जा सकती है। हमारे सिंसियरिटी ऑफ थॉट, सिंसियरिटी टुवर्ड द जॉब होनी चाहिए। अपनी ड्यूटी करें, आप अपनी ड्यूटी करें, रल के काम करें, भारतवर्ष दुनिया का मोदी राष्ट्र बने, तरक्की करे, और आपकी जो भी सजेशंस है आप लिखकर दें, उस पर हम काम करेंगे, वर्क। एंड आई जस्ट अश्योर यू कि सरकार की तरफ से कोई भी जो काम हेल्प आपकी की जा सकती है, उसमें कोई वो कसर बाकी नहीं छोड़ी जाएगी। वी विल वर्क हार्ड एंड डू व्हाटएवर वी कैन डू फॉर यू। We are there to help you. Thank you very much. You have given very good sessions, and I'm to go for another meeting. Sorry for that, but you can continue. And my officers are here. They will just note down your sessions. But I will request you give a hard copy of the sessions so that we can take decisions on that and fruitful discussion. And I'm grateful to you for giving very educative and very good sessions. This is a very fruitful meeting on this important subject which Prime Minister has given us. So I hope you will, in the future, you will contribute, and we all will be working for increasing sports and making India strong, making India self-reliant. Thank you very much.
Mantri Mahadaya ji, thank you very much. I understand there is another commitment. However, we will continue our session. A team of people who are here have worked very hard to create, with our knowledge partner, put together a report which we have submitted to the department, to the Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal ji, and which has been also shared with the Prime Minister's office and the Prime Minister himself personally. And as such, I'm really, really proud that we were part of this. Your guidance, your blessings, we were able to achieve this. I think we have come to stage 1 now. I think the stage 2 is to get it implemented, the cluster that Vahan is talking about. And therefore, we will keep coming back to you. Namit, who's here from BCG, will now moderate the next session, where he will get the industry people to give their suggestions, and we'll have a constructive dialogue in the next hour. And whatever comes out of it, sir, we will come back to you. Mohan was not able to finish his points, so I think that also requires more attention and more focus, because it comes from a perspective of a person who has seen it from outside, and what are the deterrents that we have as a country, and therefore we need to fill those up. With those words, sir, thank you so much, really appreciate it. बहुत धन्यवाद ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਨਾਬ कि ਤੁਸੀਂ join ਕੀਤਾ ਅੱਜ.
I'm really grateful to all of you. Sorry for I have to leave the meeting, and
No problem.
very good sessions, always there to help you. Whenever you ask me to do anything, I am there to help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, Namit. I think we have Qayyum, we have Muthu Kumarji is here from India Shoe Federation. Sanjay Kanchi is there. Sanjay, I hope your video was addressed. Mohan is here, Dilip is here, Qayyum is here, Vikash is here. Namit, over to you. I am going to turn off my camera, but I'm here and I'm going to listen to everything. Thank you so much. Over to you, Namit.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Mr. Prakash, for your time. Muthu, you had a couple of points you were closing in when we had to Would you like to just close those out before we move on to the next panelist?
I think it was Mohan who was speaking at that time.
Sorry, my bad. Mr. Mohan?
Yeah. See, what I was saying is like I would like to finish it with 2-3 points only, which I had. Number one, we said why the Vietnamese investments is not coming into India. Like if you look at it, Taiwanese investments is not coming into India. If you look at Vietnam, Vietnam is just a converter country. Everything comes from China and other places, and they just convert it and then they export it to the world. And so India need to kind of, number one, engage with Taiwanese trade corp.
Dr. Mohan, we seem to have lost you.
Yeah, I'm connecting again. There seems to be some problem. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
You can just turn off your
perhaps
camera
I
and
can
continue.
continue. Maybe, yeah. That's right. So I'm saying, like, number one, we need to kind of, engage with the Taiwanese external trade organization. In fact, India Invest a couple of times approached me. I did put them across with a couple of people, and then we need to kind of engage with them. So recently, we conducted a lot of webinars. We conducted a webinar with footwear, distributors and retailers association of America, with my connection, and also with the British Footwear Association. In all these webinars, there are certain things which are very, very, from an outsider perspective, unless and until we give attention to what the outside world thinks of us, and we will not be able to kind of export, make any progress. We have been considered, like I was telling, as a men's footwear bastion or a sandals. So we need to look at how we can kind of have our share in the women's footwear segment, which is consumed more. So we need to kind of create a lot of component investments, and then we need to kind of have a in that direction. Children is another area which we are ignoring. We are very few parts have a fantastic, but so that we are not kind of branded as a men's leather footwear exporter alone. That's one. The last point which I want to make is like the plug and play model, because the cost of capital is very, very high in India. And we need to kind of do something when we are trying to create these clusters where the investments on the infrastructure, main infrastructure, the land and the building, like the China model, comes from the government participation or something like that. And then the industries can just move in and then start the production. This is something we need to think about, the clusterization and the plug and play model a little bit more carefully, study the China model more carefully, and then see what we can create an environment and ecosystem which can kind of improve it. And then there are a lot of learnings from Vietnam too. Why Vietnam is very successful. Like I was saying that 30 years back, it was one of the poorest country in the world, and trade soared from 70 to 190% of GDP in the last 10 years, from 2007 to 2017. What did they do? Number one, there was very favorable conditions they made for as an attractive FDI destination. Trade policies, they signed close to 16 bilateral, multilateral FTAs. This is something which we as a country, we need to really look at it, because everyone is talking about it. India as an alternative for China, and this is the time for us to kind of engage with various trade organizations and various countries to get some FTAs in place and things like that. With this, I would like to kind of say only one or two things on the domestic. We have to kind of look at the domestic industry also. We are the second largest consumer in the world. Our rate of consumption of footwear is about 7.6% CAGR over the last 3 years. This is something, not many of us, really ignore it. And that is something which we can always, make in India and sell in India, can create, for every 1,000 pairs we produce and sell in India, we can create 400 jobs. This, I did it with leading manufacturers and retailers together, a study. If we produce 1,000 pairs and sell in India, and we can create 400 jobs across the value chain, right from manufacturing to allied industry to retail and etc. So we need to kind of look at ways and means of increasing consumption too. Look at the GST about 1,000 rupees, and look at the GST on the inputs, 18% on synthetics and stuff like that. That's what I would like to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your perspectives. I know we are short of time. Would have loved to have a longer slot with you. Let me just move to the next panelist. Vikash, I know you've been very passionate advocate about plug and play models. Would you like to share your perspective on, whilst the cluster concept has been tried in India in the past, what could have been done differently for players like yourself to be successful?
I think, thank you. Firstly, I would like to give my gratitude to ASSOCHAM, Government of India, and our industry leaders here who are on this panel, especially our chairman, Mr. Akil Ahmed. I think they all have worked very hard in these hard times for the industry, for the future of our industry. And it's good to see, at least, in spite of all this, we are talking something where there's a future for ahead of us. So my two takes, I think there's already been a lot by great personalities. They have touched so much about plug and play. And of course, those are the things that definitely goes with our future. That is something we need to really look at it, because that's where the whole ecosystem will come into existence. That's where we can create the scaling, and it's absolutely must. But I'm going to spend a little time on some different take altogether here, Namit, if you give me the opportunity, and that is something which I'm passionate about, which is a brand. And I've been saying this for a long time, very long time. I've been in business. I'm a first generation entrepreneur. I started business 20 years back, exporting, and last 10 years I've been trying to create a leather lifestyle brand in India under 360, and I've been exporting accent furniture and accessories to the world. I think we have to look. I'm a little tired of hearing about China, Taiwan, Vietnam. Every time we are comparing, listen, we are a different country. We have to have a different mindset now. We have to realize we are not China, we are not Vietnam, we are not Taiwan. Post-COVID, the world normals are going to change. The world is going to go through a massive change. The lifestyle is going to change. We have to start putting our heads together as industry leaders, and on this forum or many other forums, to start thinking, what is it that world is looking from India? Is it just big factories and all this? Yes, of course it is. But what more? We have to work on our culture. We have to look at our story. Maybe we are not digging hard enough. We are too busy competing and looking at China and Vietnam. Too busy, and that's where I get very I get very concerned that what are we doing? When I start and I talk about brand, and I talk to people who have the resources to build a brand, the first, and they are probably selling to the best of the brands in the world, buying from them, and they say, Vikash, it's much easier to go to Europe. There's so many brands for sale. Just pick them up. No. I'm not talking about buying a brand. I'm talking about creating a brand. It's a story you create. It's a culture you create. It's got a heart. It's got a soul. It's got a pain. It's got hardship. And it takes a generation to create a brand. And you know what? These brands, and this is where the image of India is going to change. We have to start looking at that. India should be a destination where we talk about sustainability, which are the new things which nobody is looking at. China. We should become the capital of the world when it comes to sustainability. We are the IT capital of the world. Why are we not using digital technology? Why are we not discussing all that? How can we play? Why can't we be a game changer? We cannot be China. We are talking and China is shipping right now. What are we comparing? There is no comparison. We should explore the new ways. It will take a generation for something like this to happen. It will take us, maybe my next generation probably be able to do it, but we need to start creating that mindset, that thought process, which nobody does. I don't know why we are so hesitant. Why can't Indian players or Indian local manufacturer be vocal and become a global player? What is stopping with the new technology, logistic, infrastructure, IT, digital? Who's stopping us? Nobody's stopping us. Yes, it's not going to be easy. I know it because I've gone through it. I'm going through. There are a lot of we have great panelists here. I'm sure Mr. Dilip sir will tell you. It takes a generation to build brand, and these brands they became image of India. And that's where you change the entire ecosystem of the country. When people look at India as India, our story, our culture, our value system, not something with China, and we are just competing, becoming another China. We cannot become another China. Let's stop dreaming. We are out of our heads. We cannot. That's my thought.
Yeah, thank you. I think you make an important point on the brand. Sorry, you make a very important point on the brand, and building brand requires sustained investments. If I may call upon Mr. Dilip Kapoor, I don't know, I can't see you, I can't see your webcam, but if you are on, sir, if you could just switch that on. Mr. Kapoor, would be great to get your perspectives as you've built High Design out as a brand. What would be your asks of the government to actually support you in the journey? You are one of the few players in India who's actually taking a brand out approach. So, would love to get your perspectives on the support required to build the brand out and take it global.
Thanks, Namit. Can you hear me now?
I can, loud and clear.
Okay, great. So I'm sharing a small presentation. Is it coming through?
We were supposed to get permission to share. Yeah.
It's coming.
Mr. Kapoor, I know we are, I don't know if this works. We may be, if you, would you like to just talk us through the same? We have about 5 to 7 minutes. We'd love to hear your perspective.
Sure. Just could we stop sharing in that case?
Yes, please. I would just love to have Mr. Kapoor's perspective on support required
Sure.
from the government of India.
The admin has rights to stop sharing.
Okay, so
go ahead, Dilip.
All right, I'll go ahead. I think I think the main effort is, and the discussion has been about how we can get the major international brands to buy from us, either via Chinese companies or Vietnamese companies, or to come directly to us. And I think that will continue to be so, because the major brands that make the decisions on buying are sitting in the United States or in Europe. And those decisions, whether we get them directly to come to us or go via Chinese companies which already have relationships with them, that's a big question. I think that's been very well thrashed out and discussed. However, in the long run, remember, the main money is not made by these Chinese companies. The big money is actually being made by the brands sitting in the United States and Europe. And sure, I think Vikas has said it takes a long time, but the steps are very similar. What we'll have to do is what Italians and Americans and Europeans have already done. And I think Vikas again brought up something important, is that we have to have a reason to be looked at as a brand. We have to be different. If we look like any other brand out of Europe, well, there's no reason. Those brands already exist. So what is the story that we have that is going to make somebody say, hey, this is something interesting, this is what I want from India, and India has then a place on the table. So the clear identity of India has to be there. For example, we started off, and that's what I want to show you, but we're not able to show now, is one of the things we did is the East India story. We were the greatest leather manufacturers of vegetable tan leather in the world. Now, that's something interesting. That's something that no one else has to tell about. So those are the stories that we need to talk about. And that's a big story. That's a story about sustainability, vegetable tanning instead of chemical tanning. If we can say that India is India's sustainable leather, we have a special heritage, special tradition in that. And that's super cool, and that's modern, and that's what's happening in the future. Then we have a place on the table. So those are the type of stories that need to come out of India. If you want to build a brand that is India brand, then what does the India brand stand for? To me, it stands for two things. One is sustainability, because we have vegetable tan leathers. And the second thing would be handcrafted, because the whole world comes to us. The world comes to us for handcrafting. Unfortunately, nobody knows that they come to us, because the customer doesn't know that. The customer only knows that they're buying a Dior, beautiful Dior shoe, and they're paying $1,100 for it. But the fact that the craftsmanship on it is Indian makes it that we have something which the world doesn't have. Once again, something special. So talk about sustainability, talk about craftsmanship. These are if you're talking about branding India, to me, these are the two legs to stand on that the rest of the world can buy from us and cannot get as much out of Europe or the United States. Now, when it comes to individual brands, building a brand is not about, in the long run, it's not about building an India brand. People don't buy India brand. Well, hopefully they're going to end up buying High Design brand. They're going to buy a 360 brand. They're going to buy some brand that's known in their eyes. And how does that get built, and what's the type of support we need? And it's a long-term support. You talk that it takes 10 years, and I think he's right. Mr. Agarwal was right. It will take 10 years to make India important as a supplier to the world. Well, to make India important as a brand, and a lot of you have mentioned that nobody comes to India looking for a brand. Well, that's really sad, but it's true. Most people don't go anywhere in the world other than Italy, France, or the United States for looking for brands. But some people do. I mean, we wanted to show you some pictures of some of the great stores that we have internationally. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show them to you. So some people did come. You can build, there are different levels of brand. Sure, we don't have a Louis Vuitton, but we do have a high design, and maybe high design 30 years from now is something like a Louis Vuitton. So that's the building blocks that we need to do. And we have a huge, huge advantage here, which the Italians had, which they use very effectively. We have a great number of very intelligent Indian diaspora abroad. Practically the best people I've had who have made high design stores abroad have been part of the Indian diaspora. It's the same way that the Italian Gucci got established elsewhere, is the way the Indian diaspora knows us, understands India, understands Indian brands, and we can build it. It's not that it's an impossibility. But building stores is very expensive. It's a very capital intensive way of building a brand. The second thing we really need support is, well, e-commerce. Now, we're on e-commerce on a lot of international platforms. But since the brand isn't known so well, the sales are also minor.
Yeah.
So building brand long-term, what is it that we're asking the government for? Well, probably not much. Probably a lot of it is on our head. But the basic infrastructure which encourages a brand to go up and do its job is having easy access to capital, long-term support in capital so that you can build a brand. Now, if what that entails, I think BCG, you're far better than I am in figuring out, what the hell that means. But surely building a brand is possible. It's not an impossible. Let's not give up, because most money internationally is made by the brand. Is made by Coach and Nike, not by the guy who made the shoe or made the bag elsewhere. So in the long run, building that step will need support, and will need, I would guess, a lot of it is building marketing. Marketing is 80%, 90%. Everything else is sure, you need quality, but 80–90% of it is just marketing. And how you spend money on marketing is the key factor here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor, for your perspectives. We need more of you, and we need more of successful brands coming out of India, and that's where the money lies, and that's where large part of the profit pool also lies. Mr. Qayyum, would be great to get your perspectives. You've charted your own path. You are progressing down to a path which is somewhat similar and in many ways different from what Mr. Kapoor also shared. Would be great to get your perspectives, and specifically the support you may require from the government to actually make India the export powerhouse.
So, first of all, thank you very much to have me on this panel. I would like to also take the opportunity to thank Mr. Akhil, who's our chairman of the CLE. Under his leadership, the council has really progressed, and we are benefited from his personal attention to the details. Now on the brand, yes, of course, we run a brand called Rouge, which we started almost 10 to 12 years ago. And like everyone said, that it is very difficult to build a brand, and it's a long-term, long-term process, which really means that a lot of patience and capital is required to build brands. Of course, it has been the entire the way people consume has changed over years. Before there was no e-com. Now e-com is playing a very important role in our lives, and especially post-COVID, it has only become more and more evident that e-com is something that is going to be a very, very important way of living. So while we do have challenges, I think Mr. Dilip has and Vikas has covered a lot of it. I think each brand needs to stand for something. Each brand needs to deliver what they promise. It has to be different. It has to be unique. It has to have its own unique selling points, and all of that. So frankly, that is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is also about the source. How do you source your products? Because that is an important aspect of at the end what is called the bottom line. And here is where all the manufacturers come into play, especially in India. Like we have heard this morning, various people speak about so many opportunities and so many challenges that we have in terms of manufacturing and exporting. So while so true, everybody has covered a lot of what is absolutely required, and like Podraji said, R&D is a key. Snedeep touched upon joint venture. Mr. Mohan talked about plug and play. These are all very important aspects of achieving our dream of making India a global hub for manufacturing and exporting. But I have one suggestion, particularly when it comes to manufacturing, where even the government support would definitely be a key, is building cluster. Now, cluster is something that already exists in the country, but for whatever the reason, I mean, best known to everyone, they have not been successful. I must say, never really taken off. But that's also because they were never designed to be successful. So I think the recent exercise that Namit, you're also part of that. We have been working on this, and the recent working on designing the future of this industry, how we can build this cluster, how this hub can be made with a complete ecosystem being in place. I mean, most of these needs to put together, like R&D, joint venture, plug and play, component manufacturing, attracting buyers. Unless we make a meaningful place to work upon and attract so-called at the end the buyer who would be interested in buying something, we need to have this particularly so-called cluster and hub to be working, and this would give a structure to this entire industry in a way that we can have scale, and scale is very, very, very important for us to play an important role in the global market. So the structure is what I believe is very important, and I think through cluster and hub we can achieve this structure. The more detailing can always be spoken about later, but just putting all the good thoughts that we heard this morning together in the form of a good cluster and a hub would be a sensible thing to do, is what I feel.
Thank you so much. Sanjay, if I could call you in, Bata is such a known brand. It's one of the largest brands in the country, especially on leather footwear. And being an MNC, one of the questions, our panel, our audience would also like to understand is, given the scale you have in Bata, what holds you back in making India probably one of the largest, markets for exporting, at least for the Bata franchise?
Well, Namit, I'm not sure if you can hear me because I've been having trouble in net connectivity.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Am I audible? Yeah. No, first of all, good morning to everyone here. And a big thanks to ASSOCHAM for bringing all of us together. Namit, as an organization, we certainly are very, very proud of the fact that we've been producing in India, for India, and for the global market here since 1931. From an industry perspective, we do believe that we are poised as a country, as an industry, very promisingly in manufacturing and export, considering certain levels that supports us, including availability and cost of manpower. We can certainly maximize the opportunity in a sustainable manner if we get just few of the critical pieces correct. A lot of points have already been stated, so I won't go over that again in details, but to reiterate it very quickly, I think tier 2 supply chain is a very critical piece in the whole process and supply chain. That is something which, if we can make it stronger through our own initiatives and through support from the government, that would certainly go a long way. By tier 2 supply chain, I mean components and raw material for sure. Product development has already been spoken about earlier in terms of design development, in terms of research, R&D centers. That is something which is the genesis of all business, which needs to be strongly in place, to maximize further growth opportunities, what India can otherwise have. Technology intervention, a bit of automation, gradually in phases, to do more with less. I think this is what will enable us to be more competitive here. And apart from the cluster program, we have been talking about that. I think that will go a long way in terms of industrial parks, in terms of clusters across, not only for finished goods, but having all the pieces of the manufacturing process which goes in together, if brought together, can go a long way in establishing all the efficiencies what India really needs from a global market perspective. We're coming back to the point, Namit, from an Indian perspective, we do local and we do export as well here out of India. We are focusing primarily on efficiencies and productivity, which definitely has proven to be an edge, and that is what is helping us drive our goals forward. One of the points that I would like to mention here is that Mr. Mohan did speak about the Fengtais and Pauchens and Apaches. They have very, very well demonstrated the fact that how the Indian advantage can be leveraged, which they have done already. I am not sure to what extent, but it definitely shows in terms of their operations. If we look at pretty much end to end. They came in, they established first the infrastructure, which is the first prerequisite for any industry to be sustainable, which was done very, very successfully. They focused very, very strongly in terms of skill building and training, which is a part of our program as well, but that took them a long way. Technology, technical interventions, research and development was a part of the whole process. And a design center was a very, very big focus for them. So they already have gone a long way in trying to, do what we have been talking about, and that's a lot of learning from them. If we can take all the good practices, all the good thought processes, I think it'll be a much happier journey for us ahead. Of course, with government support as we go forward at all the stages. That's a bit, Namit, from my side. I'm not sure if your point has been explicitly answered, but just a thought on the discussions today.
Yes and no. I think the no would be whenever the cluster comes in, let's hope that Bata is one of the anchor investors in one of the.
We do participate with different entities here in terms of cluster. We do have a lot of sourcing setup as well, and our own factories also. And we have been playing this role for a couple of years now.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a long way to go, but we are part of the process.
Thank you. Mr. Muthu, let me just turn, to you for your perspective. From an Indian shoe manufacturer, landscape, one of the things almost everyone's talked about is the full ecosystem play. And it's not, take the example of leather. We have one of the lowest cost structures of and availability of hides, but the components, etc., is where we have a significant disadvantage. I'm sure you've looked at it in the past, and I'm sure you explored the concept of large integrated clusters with the full ecosystem in. From your perspective, what would be the 1 to 2 big unlocks that the government can think of to enable and facilitate these? Sorry, you are on mute. We can't hear you. Sorry, the audio is not coming in.
Thank you, Mr. Namit. First, I would like to thank ASSOCHAM for organizing this webinar and bringing all the industry leaders to come and discuss on this forum, and also invite the Honorable Minister. And special thanks to Sri P.R. Akil Ahmed, Chairman CLD. He has given the insight about the industry to the Minister, and we all came up this pandemic. We are looking how to change it back and look at the opportunity to grow our Indian footwear exports. The top two to three things what you expecting from the Indian shoe manufacturers is, if you see, we are the second largest producer of footwear after China, and in terms of exports, but we are the world share. What we are doing is less than 2% on the pairs what we export. It's hardly 270 million pairs against the 2,600 billion pairs what we are producing. And 90% of our production is going for the domestic consumption, and but still we have a lot of scope that we can improve our export capabilities. The main reason is we'll have to look at focusing on also making products which is non-leather and synthetic, which is the fashion oriented, and also look at increasing on the sport shoes, because leather shoes, I think India, we are already there in a strong position compared to other countries, but we are far behind in the synthetic products. And also with the government help, if we get on reduction of the duties and like the clusters we're talking, we have to create clusters around the big manufacturing hubs already, probably 4 clusters across the India, where we have manufacturing in Tamil Nadu, in Delhi, in Mumbai and West Bengal area, and we have skill set available. We'll have to work how to improve our supply chain capabilities for increasing our exports. Supply chain is a very, very important thing. The big advantage for China and Vietnam is they have the complete supply chains. So we have to work along with getting some foreign direct investment to ensure that our supply chain is coming domestically, which will be very useful. And we'll have to ensure the component in industry is be supported by the foreign direct investment from Vietnam or Taiwan and those kind of things to improve our supply chain capability. And other important point, what we have to do is to improve our productivity. We are weak in our productivity comparing to other Far East countries. We'll have to concentrate on getting the supply chain increase in productivity, and definitely we can be competitive. And labor cost is concerned, we are cheaper than Vietnam and China. But only thing is we have to increase these top two is supply chain and the productivity. Once we do that with the cluster forming, I think we have a long way of road to grow our industry to the next level. Thank you, Nami.
Thank you. Really helpful. Thank you for your perspective, and like to thank everyone on the panel for their time. Deepak, would you like to have the closing remarks, please?
Actually, thank you so much, Namit, and thank you so much, everyone. It is really delightful. Akilji, would you like to say something before we sum up this? What is your views? Snedeep ji, you would like to come in as well?
Thank you, Mr. Deepak. And I'm very glad that everyone spoke so openly. You know, there is a saying, your limitation is only your imagination. You know, as more and more we imagine, and probably we can achieve the greatest goal possible. And Mr. Vikas has spoken very strong word and passion. I really like the way he has put things forward so boldly, and also Mr. Muthu, who is heading Tata International, one of the largest exporters, and Mr. Khayyum and various others, and Mr. Sandeep Agarwal. He is one of our leaders in the industry. His views also are very strongly to be considered, and many of the speakers all are very learned people. See, my experience is I'm not second generation, I'm third generation actually. You know, I have 35 years of experience. I have 35 years of experience, and my grandfather company was very, very successful, but I know what can go wrong. So I have experienced how things can go wrong in our industry. Why are we so lacking behind? The most important, Mr. Deepak, since you're at the helm of now the situation, please have one agenda, how you want our industry to go forward. Because see, the one thing is that today, the government is making certain policies, so we have time to time meeting, but any policy changes has to be discussed upfront, because there are certain things. Suddenly, if some, like I mentioned, the reason I mentioned is there are 35 associations in India, and there are many local associations in India. So anybody can write to the ministry and say that this is what I wanted, this is what I want, but it has to be consulted and a larger interest of the community, larger interest of our business people. Because you see, suddenly somebody says that please ban the import of shoes, because now self-reliant economy and all that. But there are certain products like you cannot make in India. See, what are the shoes available in domestic market is totally different from what the exporters are exporting. First, we have to give the import, give the the brands what they need first before we make and say that we need to ban on the import of footwear. And this kind of a thing which goes to Honorable Minister may give a wrong signal. So the most important, I would request you to consider taking the view. That's why we have brought today Mr. Snidip in the board. We have brought Mr. Mohan in the board. We have, if you see Mr. Muthu in the board, please have all these people, very, very successful people where we have today. And there are many more who might have left, which I will share with you. Please have them together, have one seminar, then we could probably go to the ministry and say what the industry needs. Because everybody has his own self-interest and his own business. But that should not be the cause, because we should take it a larger extent. Last thing I wanted to say about regarding plug and play. I know that you have worked very hard with the ministry to come to a certain stage. See, clusters, as you know, our culture. If you ask me to go and put up a factory in Delhi, I will not do. I will do it only between the southern region. So we need to, at the same time, please have 4 regions proposal. 4 regions proposal, so that every regions, including the West Bengal, for example, Calcutta, Maharashtra, then Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu can be one region, which we already have south in CL, southern region in CLE. Then Kanpur, and is a very important segment. It's about 35% of exports comes from that area, Kanpur, Agra, and Delhi area. So for them, one project we need to give them. So why we have failed? I'm telling you, sorry to say that, no, I want you to be successful in this project. That is why I'm being, sometimes I have to be critical, because in the 10th plan, in the 11th plan, in the 12th plan, and in the, in the IFLDP, the current situation, in every plan, there was an outlay for the mega leather cluster project. And none of them has picked up because of the certain regulations and difficulties which has happened. I don't want this to be failed. Mr. Khayyum is a very successful person. He has taken, he's made a very bold decision. There's no other company in India who has gone from manufacturing to retail. He has taken the bold step. He's gone from manufacturing to the retail. People either are in the retailer, they're in the manufacturers, or in the distributor, anywhere. But he has done a good job. He's got a lot of experience. They've got a lot of experience. Please take all these people into the board and make sure, and then we make this successful this time, and find out what are the difficulties, why it has failed in 11th plan, 12th plan, and IFLDP. The last 350 crores has been put in. And every time I have been in the CLE for 17 years now, actively participating in different roles as regional chairman, vice chairman, then chairman. My terms will be over by end of this year or beginning of January. But we want it to keep going, with the things, how we progress. So I'm sure that you are taking the lead, and I wish you all the best. And I wish all the.
Thank you so much, Akhilji. I think you've made your points. I think, Namit, there's a very fair points. When we are discussing these matters, we include as many as possible people. The diverse views are extremely important, I think. But at the same time, there are too many diverse views, and it becomes difficult for decisions to happen. And remember, we are the only ones who propose, and we collect everybody's inputs, and without any bias, we put it forward. However, I will ensure that.
I wanted to add one point. The most important is the integrity of all segments. That one thing you should put a proposal. It's not only one product or one segment or one people. It has to be a multiple people that has to join together. And then last thing I wanted to mention is, ultimately the customer is driving. It is not Fentai who's putting the factory here. It is a customer backing. So unless we have a customer backing in the country, 3 points I just learned. The biggest challenge for any foreign customers to come and set up is labor reforms, land, and then what is the take they're going to take from the government, because incentive package. Unless we have these 3 defined in our proposal, the investment coming here is very, very difficult, because this is based on my experience, which I'm saying you. But anyhow, then we will all work together and see what we can do. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. So Namit, I think with this, I would thank everyone, all panelists.
Deepakji, with your permission, 1 minute, I want to have a chat with Amit, since BCG has already made a report and they have the eyes of the minister and the prime minister at their ears, right? So before they.
That's a very interesting comment that you make, that BCG has the eyes and ears of the prime minister. So Namit should be getting a bonus for that, right?
They have made the report and they mentioned that.
I'm not sure I'm going to take that privilege, but
on their recommendation, it is a priority sector. You see, just 2 points in 1 minute I want to mention, so that I don't suppose they go back. People have mentioned about brand creation. I am the biggest supporter of brands, and it must happen. And then we have talked about supply chain, right? Supply chain must. You see, both are not competing. They both must happen, and they are complementary. But brands start where? I realized it long back after setting up a company 20 years ago in Italy and trying to make a brand. It starts with, in today's world, starts with manufacturing excellence. Whether it is a boutique brand, it's a large-scale brand. And we must realize that brands also must start with manufacturing, if it's Gucci or anything for sustainable. And today, especially when we talk of a new world and sustainability, it has to be a sustainable brand, but starting with manufacturing excellence in all its parts. And both these businesses are same. Retail brands in the end in the world also make 8 to 10% EBITDA margins, and the best ones make 15%. And manufacturing supply chain companies, which are larger scale, also make 10 to 15 or 20% EBITDA margins. So as a nation, we must decide at this stage, where do we want to be, right? Both sides has competition. Brands also compete with brands in UK, Italy, France, United States. Manufacturing, we have to compete with Vietnam, China, Myanmar, and other nations, right? So both sides there is competition. So I just don't want that suddenly, that we should decide our priority. That's my point. At this stage, where do we want to be? Do we want to be staying at 5.6 billion and come to 8, 9, 10, or do we want to make a leap? Right? Those are the things to address.
Thank you so much. So we have just about a minute left for this webinar to close. So we don't want an abrupt closing. Thank you all. I think each one of you have contributed significantly. I think, Namit, we need to put paper together for the minister. So all inputs that are there that have been received will be created and put forward to the minister. Thank you all once again. Really appreciate it for the time that you have spent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. So you can start the.
Thank you.